Hi, welcome back to StoryHive On Location, Vernon. I'm Robb, and we're live in Vernon with another incredibly inspiring episode brought to you by TELUS STORYHIve. Today I'm sitting with Jordan Perkins, one of the most incredibly talented painters I think I've ever had a chance to speak with. And we're going to dive into his story, his skill set, and what future he has for his artwork.
Well, thanks, Rob.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to sit and pick your mind.
Appreciate you being here. It's the first time I've ever had like a in-depth conversation with somebody that's talked to so many different artists in these spots.
I'm excited because your work is next level. There's something magic about what you do and how quickly you can put it out, like you've said. So let's start off with who you are, where you're from, and how you became a painter.
Oh, so that's a deep one. So Jordan Perkins. So I'm living in Coldstream right now. I came out from Ontario several years ago just to kind of chase the sun. I heard there was no snow in the Okanagan, so I came here. And as time goes by, I've always been in the restaurant business, and it was a very fulfilling career for me. But at the same time, there was never a finished product, And I always thought, like, oh, I'm going to retire. I'm going to stop this restaurant stuff, and I'm going to paint fences, is what I called it. And then the way I would describe that is, I want it to be white, and then I want to paint it blue, and I've got a finished product to look back at the end of the day. And I never had that until one day, my daughter Marley and I, she was 5, and 2015, so we're going back a bit. We went to Dollarama in the afternoon for some paint supplies, and we came home, painted, and the next day she's like, "Oh my God, I love it! Can I hang it in my room?" And I showed you the painting earlier. It was nothing special. It was there's no reason to say like, "Hey, you should keep painting." That wasn't. You saw it. It was just a painting. So we did that. We started doing that as our afternoon hobbies, and you got to do an activity with a 5-6-year-old, and it just kind of kept growing. And one day I thought, oh well, maybe I could decorate my house. So I started Googling easy paintings and paintings for beginners and whatnot. And next thing you know, it became what I did as a hobby. I stopped paddleboarding as much and I started painting more in my kitchen. Until one day someone says, "Could you paint my dog?" And I was like, oh, I guess I could paint your dog. How much do you want to pay? And that kind of started it. That made me realize that, wow, this is a fun hobby, something I really enjoy doing. And at 35 years old was the first time I've ever painted anything like an animal or whatnot. And I liked it. I ended up having dozens of these large concepts for me. I've never even thought of this in my life. And as it goes, I started painting and just practicing, and I was looking at it, the dog portraits, like, I'm getting paid to practice. I don't know what I'm doing. They don't all turn out, and people are paying me to do this. And of course, they don't know. I'm sitting there thinking, I got no idea what I'm doing. I used to print off, I use an iPad now, but I used to print off a piece of paper of their dog, and go off this black and white photo, and sometimes they turned out, but not all the time. Anyways, it just kept evolving and evolving until we are today. When I got to around, I guess, 60% of my wage at the time, I thought to myself, wow, if I'm making 60% of what I get paid right now doing this nights and weekends, could I leave my job and do this full time? And the answer was yes, it was possible. And as an artist, I think it's kind of, it's like a snowball rolling down a hill where you gain a collector here today, right? And the next week, someone from Florida is your new collector. And you're kind of picking up these collectors as you go, and your style's changing, and they're following you, and they see you on social media and interviews or in restaurants with your art up. And it's kind of like this snowball that keeps growing. And there's hundreds of people in my art family now because of it. And I think I owe most of it to the people. If you're out there, the people at the beginning, thank you for buying those paintings, because they're not what they are today. And without the early collectors and people buying them, it wouldn't have grown to what it is now. Mm-hmm. And not only has this made a living for myself, but in the last... should I do all the talking?
You can. Feel free, brother. I'm enjoying the talk.
Okay, well, I got, I guess, 10 years of stuff that, and maybe I jumped too quick, but not only has the early adapter people helped me continue to paint. I've raised over $90,000 working for different charities by going and painting live at galas, and big galas like Big Brothers Big Sisters, and some hospital foundations and whatnot, and just really try to go and do any events I can, whether they're local or far, as long as it's gonna actually help some people at the ground, So without the early adapters, there would be almost nothing, and that is when the art was the worst. So, but I guess art's art. Mm-hmm. My daughter, on the other hand, she did not keep painting. So it became something that I did all the time. And I think maybe because I did it all the time, she kind of lost interest in it. And she did sell a few years ago. Somebody was being extra kind and commissioned her to do one. And then after that, she was out.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Did you ever think, because you started painting at 35, you said?
Yeah.
Prior to that, did you ever think that you'd become a professional painter?
No. So funny enough, I think I drew, like I used to sketch with my friend Scotty Marks back in high school, and at his parents' place, I remember, drawing the soak up as much of what people could teach me, and I could learn to the point where I was in Whistler at one point, and I was invited down to the Caribbean to help open up a beach bar. And from the beach bar, 2 years later, I'm finally back in Canada after opening up a couple other restaurants for people. So I was really involved in building, and I like the aspect of creating businesses and whatnot. And I think that is part of the success for the whole art business, because I try to tell people it doesn't really matter what you have, whether it's a smiley face sticker or a pair of shoes or a piece of art or anything. It's marketing. The only real thing you have to have is be able to market it and find those buyers for whatever product you have, because people are, like I said, people are buying, little rubber fake turds. That is the thing. Somebody said, I'm going to make plastic turds and I'm going to sell them, and people bought them. Mm-hmm. So you could really sell anything you want.
Yes, you can.
So I try to use the marketing as much as I can into that, and I think with the marketing comes the value people are going to get, and you want to make sure people are getting a value. And a lot of people just automatically assume they can't afford my art. And the secret to my art is that I keep it at a value people can afford. And I have a very talented friend, Dmitry Sarenko, artist in Calgary. The guy's a genius. Anyways, you'll have to check him out. But he knows everything about color theory and everything about this and everything about that, And I aspire to be like that. But until I can paint that well, I'm just gonna have to keep marketing and keep the prices where they're at, So there's Kias and there's Ferrari. Ferrari sells a really expensive car. Kia sells a lot more cars. Mm-hmm. And so there's just lots of ways to win at the art game. And I think it's important for other artists to remember, don't try to make a career off of that painting you did today. Try to make a sale off of it, but make the career off the next 100 you're going to sell. Don't try to get rich today. Think about the long game. Because as I said earlier, as your snowball is rolling down the hill, you're picking up collectors. If you're not selling those paintings because for whatever reason, maybe it's price or whatnot, you're not picking those collectors up. So when they think artist later, they're not thinking you because they never bought that one. So the dog portraits are what made my career what it is. Without the dog portraits, there would also be no paintings, because half the people that buy my paintings that I make were pet portrait people. They love their dogs, so they get a painting, and the next thing you know, they're we need another painting for the lake house or for the living room, and they're like, well, let's contact Jordan. So once you get into that art family, you just kind of keep it naturally growing on its own even. Mm-hmm. So it's quite neat.
It is quite amazing to see the skill set that you have, but what I really enjoy about your work is your color palette.
Yeah.
The fact that you have these bright, elaborate colors on top of it, that adds such a unique element to it that I feel like I don't see a lot of artists locally, at least, that are pulling off the same skill set that you have.
Yeah, well, I do appreciate that. Like the one thing I do like about the local art is that my art is very distinguishable. I started painting portraits, and the reason they're large and colorful is for two reasons. When I started painting back in 2015, I didn't even have Facebook or Instagram at this time. I was one of those people that were just like, I don't need it. I'm in the Kootenays. I lived in Castlegar. I worked in the restaurant, and I went fishing and did things outside. It was just not high my priority list of seeing what's going on out there in the world, and I didn't have any art to share. Actually, today, if I didn't have a painting business, I probably wouldn't even be on social media now. But without it, it's, as you know, it's one of the main marketing tools are the social media. So anyways, the art is big and colorful because when I started painting, I was Googling easy paintings, paintings for beginners, etc. And as you do that, you find other artist paintings that are posted. So I found a guy named Voka, and he's kind of like an art god. You know, everyone who paints these colorful portraits like that, like it kind of all stemmed with him, it seems. And very successful guy. I can't remember where he lives, Switzerland or Sweden or something. But and then a guy named Peter Terran. He's a Belgium guy, lives in Mexico, works out of Mexico, and he paints really big portrait type styles that are colorful as well, and with a palette knife primarily. So I feel like those two guys were like the main drivers of like where my styles turned into. And when you look at my paintings, you wouldn't think of either of them, but I know that there's aspects of both of them. I know for sure I started trying a palette knife because I saw Peter Terran do it. He wasn't painting giant snails and bears and elephants. He mainly painted women's faces and whatnot back then. But it was a neat way to explore, because you have to see things, I think, somewhere to learn from somebody. Yep. You know, and you don't want to be copying people, but you know, it's fine to take styles or colors or be like, oh, I like that purple and orange went really cool together, you know, and you're like, I'm going to try it. And that's where my paintings, like, I don't usually know what I'm going to paint until the morning. And then I'm like looking through like, oh, that bear's neat. And you know, you pair it up with a room that I saw that's got some funny colors. And then that's kind of the idea where you'll paint that bear, but with the colors from that bouquet, you know. And because I don't want to get typecast either. I don't want to be the guy. I started becoming the guy that paints ostriches. Okay. When that ostrich farm thing was happening, I went and I did a live painting of an emu while I was there.
That's so cool.
Yeah, so cool. And I was just raising money. I wasn't there for political reasons or anything. I don't know the whole story.
Yeah, you were just there just doing
I was just there. What happened was I owed somebody a favor, and they said if you could, they're really invested in this whole story, and if you could go there and paint live and donate it off, then we're fair. And then I was like, I don't know. I put a poll out on my social media. Some are saying yes, some are saying no. And then a cabin company messages me and says, we'll give you a free night's stay if you don't tell anybody. And I was like, what? Is this like some like espionage cool stuff now? Now I'm secretly staying at someone's Airbnb or cabin thing to help with the whole ostrich thing, but they were locals, and because it was so controversial, they didn't want to be part of it. And I'm like, well, now I have to go because it's in the cusp. So my partner and I'm just like, let's go. We'll go to the hot springs. We'll stay in the Airbnb for the night, and we'll paint. And the painting sold for $7,000. And I got the person who bought the emu painting. They're from Ontario. They wanted to be anonymous as well. So I didn't realize how crazy this thing was. But I just got them to email the ostrich farm the money. So I was just like a middleman. But anyways, after that, everybody associated me with being the guy that paints ostriches. And the worst part about it was, I call them emus, and I've been painting them for years. Years and years and years.
Just one political situation happens.
One political situation happens. Next thing you know, you're the ostrich painter. And it doesn't even look like an ostrich. And so it was kind of funny and kind of not. I would do it again, for sure, you know? And even though there was some people that didn't like that I was there doing it, any publicity, I guess, I didn't do anything wrong. You know what I mean? Any publicity is good publicity if you're not hurting anybody. And that's what I do. I go raise money for different charities, and they're not my charities. So none of the people that I work with are mine.
So do you volunteer, or are you asked to come join these?
So I volunteer. So I do get paid, and I'll explain how. But this is a bit of a story. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. About 2 years ago, my buddy Robb, a longtime friend of mine, I've worked for him, he's worked for me in the restaurants. It's just we've always been good friends. He says to me one day, he's like, what's your legacy going to be? And I'm like, I'm going to have like hundreds of shitty paintings all over the world. You know, like people won't be able to forget me because my name's on them. And he's like, no, like what good are you going to do? And I started thinking, like I can't just donate money. That's not a real solution for my finances. And maybe I could do a charity thing. I'm like, it's a lot of work too. So then I thought, well, I paint fast. I can paint anywhere from, well, you can make them as quick as you want because you can kind of cut things out. But anyways, I can paint a good painting, one of these paintings, in around the 3 to 4 hour mark.
That's just mind-blowing to me.
Yeah, so my plan, my plan was, why don't I reach out to charities that are having galas and see if I can go and paint at these galas, and while the guests are eating, the first hour, I don't know how many galas you've been to, but the first hour they usually have like a reception area where they kind of hang out for an hour, and I'll get people to come help paint and joke with them, take pictures with them, and just have a good time. And then when they go into the ballroom, I'll grab my canvas and I'll have another setup waiting there for me to paint. And we auction it off at the end. So in the last about 1.5 to 2 years, I've raised $90,000 doing this. So the way that I got into it was, the way it works for me is I take half the sale, but I go for free. I pay for the trip, I pay for the materials, whatnot. Like, I was just in North Vancouver next weekend. My next one is January 2nd in Calgary. So there's zero risk on the charity, and there's no minimum sale. So if someone buys it for $2, well, you still had the free entertainment, right? So it works for the charity no matter what, and the guests. And it's been working for me, obviously, because now it's starting to get a reputation where it's like, oh, Jordan's here again, so it's kind of makes it's special. And it's fun. And anyways, that was going to be my legacy now, is I'm trying to raise $1 million. And I'm still like $900,000 short. So I don't know. I'm 46. I don't know if I have time to do it. There's only so many weekends in a year, But I'm going to try. So I started emailing. I Googled ChatGPT, actually. I still call it Googling. But I asked ChatGPT, can you find me all the charities in BC and Alberta that have galas? Told it my idea, I was going to want to go paint live. Anyways, it spit back 16 of them. One was the Canadian Kidney Foundation. Okay. And Big Brothers Big Sisters. And anyways, so I email 16 charities. Here's my plan. I'm going to come for free. We're going to auction it off. We're just going to split it. You don't have to pay me anything. I'm fully insured. I just need 10 by 10 feet and you to mention to people what I'm doing. And 5 people emailed me back out of the 16. And I did them. I did all of them. And I think at first I was really nervous, because the trip to Vancouver cost $800. They're $400 hotels now, So if you go I brought my family. I'm like, oh, here's what we'll do, guys. We'll just bring everybody and we'll have a vacation every time I do one of these, because I thought it wasn't going to happen very often. I thought it was going to sell for a lot more. Anyways, I think it sold for $2,800 or whatnot, which I was just like thrilled. I was like, this is amazing. I just raised $1,400 and I got a vacation for the weekend with my kids and my partner. It seemed like a great thing. So I thought, okay, well, I'll just keep doing this and we'll keep going on vacations. But then the second time we went to Vancouver, we realized, well, maybe the kids shouldn't come. This is kind of boring now. We did it, we done it. And so now a lot of times I just travel by myself and I'll just show up the day early, paint, and leave the next day. And usually I'll drop the painting off with the new buyer on the way home.
That's so cool.
But you got to think, it's really neat. And I think that other artists weren't doing this because there's no guaranteed paycheck. Whether they want, and I let people help, and if you check my social media, there's lots of people helping paint, and it's just a lot of fun. But I think that the risk of not making money and having expenses holds people back. And at first I was like, if I could break even, if I can go to Vancouver for 2 nights, right, and pay my supplies in the hotel and break even and make some money for a charity, then I'm so happy to do that. And it's working, and they've sold up to $12,000.
Crazy.
Yeah, a couple 10s and some 8s, and they probably average around $5,500 is the average sale. So it doesn't. The weird part is, like, you could be in a room full of money. I mean, like, you're at the doctor's galas, right, and it doesn't sell for very much. Or you could be. I was just at one in Kelowna for the Gospel Mission in Kelowna, and it was the record sale. And the guy who bought it didn't buy the painting because of the painting. He bought the painting because how it symbolized to him and the name of it. The last one just sold last week, and the guy that bought it was invited the afternoon before to come out from Ontario to go to this show. And if he wasn't there, one time, because auctions are crazy. This one time I was at the Humane Society, I believe it was, gala, and this guy buys it. The auction starts going on, and he stands up in the middle of nowhere as everyone's talking, and he's like, wait. The wife says it won't fit. I can't take it. But you can keep the money, sell it again. So you just don't know. Another one I did was a great time too. John McMurray here, A&W guy. He hosts an event. Anyways, somebody outbid him because he thought the guy was just playing with him. And then he comes up and he says, hey, I just talked to the auctioneer, and if I pay $4,000 as well and you make me another one, we'll donate that too.
Oh, cool.
And it's like, oh, so cool, because those $4,000 paintings aren't $4,000 when you buy them from me. It would be about $1,600, but because it's wrapped around the charity and the excitement. So you never know what's going to happen at these auctions, and that's the fun part. And you know, sometimes I show up and I'm like, we don't know how it's going to sell, Jordan. We don't know. And I'm like, I don't care. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter. I would think if it's sold for $1,000 or under, I'd probably buy it. Donate the money, half the money, and try to resell it down the road, because it's fun. The whole thing is fun about it. So I got to keep doing those things, I think.
I love it. And I've spoke with a lot of painters over the last few years, and most of them focus on getting their stuff in the galleries and getting it on social so that they could sell it. And I've never heard of somebody who has used the strategy that you did. And I think it benefits, because it's going to sound bad, but a lot of people, when you're putting on your painting, trying to sell your artwork, you're doing it for you, which is why it kind of stays there until somebody finds it. But if you're doing something for a cause, like a charity or event, like, it has like a different vibe to it. You know what I mean? Like, you can't beat that. It's powerful.
Yeah, and I think that one of my advantages, honestly, is that I didn't grow up in the art world. I knew nothing about the art world. I didn't know anything about the what do you say? I don't know, like the stuck-upness of some galleries and the pretentiousness. I didn't know any of these things. I wasn't even aware of it. When I was selling people dog portraits for $250, I thought I was like had a license to print money. I was like, oh my god! And then you talk to artists and they're like, well, that should be $600. And I'm like, well, why? Like, well, $1 inch, $2 a square inch. I'm like, oh, so I started to price my paintings earlier on like a tattoo artist would. And I thought, okay, well, tattoo artists are making $150 an hour right now, and that dog portrait takes me 3 hours roughly. I'll just charge $450, you know, instead of trying to get real calculated. And I think because I didn't come from the art world, I was able to not worry about the things where someone's like, hey, Jordan, like, would you take $500 for that $1,000 painting? And I'm thinking, yeah, $500, like I did that last night after work. Love to take that, you know. So I do bargain my prices. I will make changes. Somebody just bought a bee painting that's down there, and they wanted a toothbrush put in its hand, and they're like, we hate to ask, but would you put a toothbrush in it?
I was wondering what the toothbrush was.
Well, it's for Abbey Dental.
Okay.
So he's a collector of mine. He's bought several paintings and prints. And he's like, I need something for the new office.
Clever.
He ended up buying this amazing astronaut painting all sprawled out on this old Victorian couch painting that I did, which I'm going to do more of those in that series because I loved it.
Super cool.
Yeah, so we called it for one. We had him. He was buying this, and he's like, can you make it more, this bee look more like a dentistry? And I'm like, well, like put teeth in it? Like, what do you mean, you know? And he's like, I don't know, a toothbrush. And so I did it. But I don't mind changing it if it's little things like that to help make the customer happy and to help make the sale. Because like I said earlier, his name is Brian Burrows. He owns a dentist office down there, and he is a collector. He's not just buying this painting one time. He already owns a couple prints. He's already buying other originals. So he's in my art family. You know, so he's one of those guys I grabbed as the snowball is rolling down the hill. And when he needs more art, he's gonna think of me. And if I said no to that, maybe next time he's like, wow, Jordan wouldn't do that thing we wanted last time. Yeah. You know, so I think the selling yourself is being flexible, and I feel like the people that sometimes take that art route and go with the galleries, there's a lot less flexibility. And don't get me wrong, like just because I haven't worked with galleries doesn't mean people shouldn't. Can my prices ever become as expensive as gallery paintings? I would say probably not, because you're not now having that prestigiousness of being in the Whistler Gallery or some, you know, big expensive place. But my clients can't afford those paintings. well, some of them can, but the average person doesn't want to spend. I've never bought a $2,000 painting. I've never bought a $1,000 painting, you know, like, and most people have not. So there's more people that have less to spend on art than there is that have more. But galleries would definitely work for somebody that doesn't want to promote themselves. You know, business and art don't always line up. And I think that for me, I was a business person before I was an artist. And for me, it was like, oh my God, I sold 4 paintings last week, or whatever the case was. And it was like, for me, I wanted to get into restaurants. Like I'm in 20 different restaurants. Even Penticton, where you guys came from, there's 3 places that hang my art down there. Coincidentally, one is an art gallery. But I felt he was different. I felt that he's younger than me, and he was just starting the art gallery, and he was just a little less pretentious with it, and he was just a little more real, and I thought it would be exciting. And so I thought, and I don't know if I put the art in his gallery for him or for me. I feel like it was a bit of a mix. I feel like he had such enthusiasm that I wanted to try to help promote him. I'm not saying my art in there is going to, well, nothing sold for my art. They've sold paintings, but none of mine. But I just want to be able to share it on social media for him and be like, hey, I'm in there. You need to go look. Because people that like my art or like me as an artist are going to want to visit it if they're down in Penticton. He's like, yeah, we were talking about you. And he's like, you're just going to do your thing, Jordan. You just keep doing your thing. When you're sick of selling your art, come talk to us. Because like, I want the interactions. You know, like I wouldn't want someone to buy my painting if I'm not going to talk to them or meet them. Yeah. Because I want them to come over here if they can't. I want that connection. I want them to give them a hug or just know that like how valued they are and that they're part of my art family and build those connections. And I think that a lot of that would get lost with the gallery. Mm-hmm. And instantly I'd have to double my prices just to pay somebody else for my paintings. And that's where the art world I know doesn't like me is that my paintings are half the price they would be in a gallery. And the reason for that is because they're not. Mm-hmm. You know?
Yeah, it's a weird industry. The art industry has always been one that I'm like, tried to wrap my head around, because you see paintings that look like they took 10 minutes to do that sell for millions of dollars. And then you see paintings that look like they took years to do that get sold for a couple hundred. Yeah. It's one of the weirdest industries to try and navigate. And this is where I like speaking with creatives and artists, because each one has their own unique path that they have to take to build themselves that career. Yeah. And everyone has these different trials and tribulations to get over. And for me, I've spoke with a lot of people who've done it their whole life. They're like, I've been doing painting since I was 10. Yeah. And I've been struggling the whole time. And then I'm like, you just had this hidden talent that you never knew about that is like an extremely skilled talent, and you're still so humble about it.
Well, I don't know if I wouldn't call it talent even. I would just call it practice, because I think anyone could do it. You see my first painting and it's not nothing special. And all my first paintings look like that. So I think it's just like, I try to explain to people, like, you couldn't walk before. You saw everybody walking. You wanted to walk. You learned to walk. If nobody else was walking, you'd probably just crawl around like everybody else was doing, you know? So to me, it was just practice and practice. And I've sold hundreds of paintings, maybe 1,000. And so it's a lot of hours that were put in. But the art world is funny like that. And if you see the painting, that abstract painting on the wall there, that was from a series that I did when I was a little frustrated one day, because I saw this like blue painting go for sale for millions of dollars on Instagram or whatever. And I was like, this is bullshit. Like, this is even art. Like, this is why. So I came up with this idea that I was going to make shit art.
Love it.
And I based this series off of making paintings that were obviously priced too high for what they were. So I started doing these random, one strictly to get them in my art family, you know. But it's funny, or you talk to my buddy Dimitri, you know, same thing. He's gone to school for art school, and you don't have to. It's a tricky. It's just a funny business, I think, and it gets out of control once you watch Sotheby's, you know, auctions, and they're selling these $76 million paintings, and you're like, what is going on here? And I just had someone haggle me down, you know, $100 on this $1,000 painting, and it's like, how do you get there?
That's kind of where I've always wondered, is like you were saying earlier, people instantly look at your work and are like, oh, I can't afford it, because it is such a high skill set. And then you, as the artist who keeps it down to a reasonable price, is still an absolutely mind-blowing thing, because you're putting in so much of your own self into each piece. And that is what artists do. You kind of give yourself to the people
Yeah.
And to put a price on that is probably one of the hardest things for an artist to do because they don't understand business. And that's where I think you being a business person first is it allows you to put that price on the value of the market.
So like we were saying earlier, sometimes like people will charge the same amount for like if it's 2 feet by 2 feet, this is their price. For me, I have a price range, and that is, let's just say the normal price would be $1,000. If I personally don't like it as much, I might charge $600 or $800. If I like it more, where it's like I'd rather keep this, then maybe I charge double. I don't know. There's just kind of a range, and to me, I think that's being flexible like that really helps the long-term gain. And not painting just, well, I guess I do paint just what I want to paint, but you always hear like paint what you want and find your, but again, if I want to make a living off this, like, yeah, send me your dog picture. I'll paint it. Is it what Jordan wants to, like, personally? No. And you do have to be a bit adaptable, and they all have their own little adaptable niche that they do. You know, one guy sells lots of like very expensive, his paintings are very expensive, so his prints are very expensive, and he makes his own prints and sells a lot more prints than originals. But he's still making a living selling his art.
That's all that matters at the end of the day, right?
Yeah. And which me, I sell like little prints compared to, and I try to keep the price as low as I can. So it's a very small profit margin for me, but I just want to get those into people's houses. And I think making prints and putting them on my website is actually one of the ways that I make sure I take pictures of my paintings. Because without that, I don't know if I'd have the discipline to remember.
Right.
Yeah.
What has been the biggest hurdle for you to overcome getting to the point where you are?
Well, I don't want to sound like jerky, but I don't think I had any hurdles. It was all pretty smooth because I wasn't trying to be an artist. I wasn't trying to make a career at it. I wasn't trying to do anything. I was just painting with my daughter. So because that was the way that it evolved, it's like I didn't have expectations. I didn't have anything. I remember thinking at one point, it's like, wow, if I could just sell $4,000 a month, oh, that would be the best thing ever. Just pay my mortgage, please, just, And then that point came, and unfortunately on business, I'm like, oh, if I could just sell $6,000 a month,
Yep.
So I've reached all the financial goals that I wanted, and I sell like on average probably 150 paintings every year for the last like 3 or 4 years. And with the live paintings, that like about 2 years ago is when I started to realize like, okay, you can't keep doing this, Jordan. You can't just keep raising your financial goal. Like it's not a goal at this point. You want to be a full-time artist, that's a great goal. But being like, I want to make 200 or 300 or 400,000 a year, that's not really a goal. That should be a product of your goal. And your goal should be whatever that is, whether it's trying to just be financially set or I look at myself now as that I'm retired. And because the way that I look at myself like that is because what would I be doing if I was retired? And I would be making paintings. I would be going to charity galas and painting live because I would donate everything if I was filthy rich. But if I was retired today, I would just be doing what I'm doing today. And yeah, I wish I had hurdles, but I didn't. I looked at it like a business. When COVID happened, I bought lots of supplies. I still have a sea can at the side of the house full of supplies. I probably have 2 years of supplies. I buy my paints directly from the manufacturer because they don't sell them in Canada anymore. I buy my canvases directly from the people that sell their canvases to the canvas stores, and I just get them dropped off by pallets. So I try to really make sure that I'm keeping my costs as low as I possibly can. And I'm a big believer, like coming from the restaurant business, is you want to set yourself up for success. So if you need something for your business, you have to just buy it. If you need a new camera or a better camera or whatever the new technology is, you can't not buy it. You have to just get it because you want to be the best. You want to do the best job you can. And that's why I will never run out of paint. Or if COVID happens again, I have 2 years of supplies. I'm not worried this time around. So it's and you build those relationships. So Chroma Mural Paint, that's who I buy paint from, and they're the first people I got paint from. It was from an art store called I forget what it's called actually, in Nelson. And we tried it because I was really cheap when I started. Like I just wanted to use Dollarama paints. Like nobody was buying paintings. I just wanted to paint and experiment. And so I found this less expensive paint called Chroma Mural Paint, and they stopped carrying it in Canada. So eventually I kept hounding them and tagging them in every post I made. I'm like, I've been using this for 8 years. Everybody, message Chroma Mural Paint. Tell them,
sponsor me.
Yeah, tell them. I just need to be able to order it.
Yeah.
Like, what do I have to do to order your paint? That's all I want. I'll order cases at a time. Anyways, so eventually they said yes. And they sent me cases, and that all of them say not for resale on there.
That's so cool.
Yeah, because I'm not allowed to sell them. And about 6 months ago, they emailed me and say, can we use your photo in our catalog beside Chroma Mural Paint, and we'll give you 50% off. And I said, well, This is great. Of course, I would have done it for free. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you want to put my picture in the Painter magazine ordered catalog? Yeah.
That's so cool.
So cool. Never would have thought that would be happening. And I don't know. It's just the whole thing has been a whirlwind, I guess. And yeah, the hurdle is going to be moving from this house at one day, because the studio, we don't need most of the house. We just need the studio.
Yeah.
And I've got this new plan where, because again, what's the point of business? What's the point of painting? What's the point of all of it? Is it can't just be financial.
Yeah.
So I've just decided like a week ago that I'm gonna go to Florida, specifically Sarasota and Venice, for 2 to 3 months a year, starting this year. And I've never gone on a vacation before in my life. Like I lived in the Caribbean for a couple of years, but then other than that, I've just been a worker. And the idea is, legally, you can paint in the States as a Canadian, but you can't sell anything while you're there. So my thoughts are, well, what if I just went down there and I painted for 2 months, right? And all my social media, all this was about, I'm making these paintings and they're available, March 1st, when I get back to Canada, I'm going to do a drop. All these paintings are available then. People message, sorry. And you can't make deals. You can't make a pre-sale. You can't sell to Americans for sure. But you can make them there, bring them back duty free, and then sell them once you're home in Canada. So my thought is a trial. We're gonna go for like December, January, or January, February, and just rent an apartment. Nothing special. Like we'll basically clear out the furniture in the living room. That'll just be the studio. It'll just be the two of us. So it'll be fine. And then see if I can build that anticipation up by being like, there's a painting drop. And so usually I make a painting and I post it right away. I can't wait 5 seconds. But with this, I'm just like, it'll because it's a lot, I don't want to get banned from the States, because my goal is to just avoid the winter as much of it as I can. Now the kids are driving themselves around. So that's what's coming up in my world here. And I think it'll create some new inspiration. Like I've done some flamingo paintings before, but I was like, oh, maybe I should do another flamingo painting, and see how it goes, and see if I can sell enough of those paintings when I get home to make up for the fact that I didn't make any money for 2 months. So it's a gamble, but it's not a total gamble, because you still have those paintings when you get home.
Yeah.
So if you have to, maybe that's when you have to join a gallery where it's like you can't unload all these quick enough. So you try to hire people to help. I don't know.
I love it. That's such a cool concept.
The problem is I was hoping I could go down there and volunteer as, to get my name around as well as go and paint for free live at these galas, but you can't even volunteer if it's part of your profession. So I could volunteer to go clean plates and stuff, but not
volunteer painting
in case you're taking a job away from somebody. So to me, though, when I heard that, I was like, so it's still possible. I could still just bring them back, because that bee painting we were talking about earlier, that's 3-year-old painting that just sold. So you don't know when it's going to sell, if it'll ever sell. Like that cow painting, the cow teats, like I've never seen a painting like that before, and there's probably a reason. Probably because people don't buy them. But it's kind of neat, and you don't need people to buy them. You need one person to be like, that is so cool.
Yeah,
when I did this snail painting, I did 3 of them, and 2 snail paintings sold. And it's like, who would have thought there's a market for giant snail paintings?
That's the thing, is we live in such a weird time. There's a market for everything. Everything. Like this is the one thing I've learned over this show, is that there's 3 lessons that I've learned. We live in the perfect time to build a career off anything we want. If you fully believe in yourself, you can do it. And there is no age limit to starting your career as a creator.
That's right.
Those are the 3 most invaluable things I've learned doing this show, is that you can do whatever you want when you want. You just have to believe in yourself.
Yep.
And you show a valuable fact that is true.
Yep.
You said, I wanted to be a painter, and now you're a professional painter.
Yeah, you're unprofessional painter.
Well, the thing is, your skill set is so high. And that's what I was saying is like the wolf painting. It is such a detailed painting that is absolutely stunning. And you'd see that on Google and people would be like, wow, that's mind blowing. You know what I mean? And it's something you just whip together.
It's something different, you know. And they're unique, and people know that they're mine when they see them, which is one thing that really you want, I guess, as a artist or.
Well, that's
anybody.
what I meant by like when I was speaking earlier, where when I put the shout out to look for Vernon artists, you were probably the top rated.
That's
one
great
to
to
interview.
There
There was like 13 people who were like, you need to speak with Jordan.
Yeah.
There's artists in my house. There's artists we're interviewing who have your artwork in their
Oh, is there?
Yes. Like they're like, you need to speak with him because there's artists in my house. It's amazing.
Oh,
so,
that
like,
is funny.
There are other artists local
that have my art
same
too.
level and same skill, but they're like love what you do. And it's I don't want to say it's very Okanagan, but like there's something very BC about what you do. It's like it's colorful, it's laid back, but it's still got this like visually striking awe to it.
Well, and the main thing that I try to do is I try to have like one focal point. Like, so I do like single subject paintings is kind of is what I say. Whether it's a fire hydrant or a dump truck, I did one of the big dump truck for a garbage truck for one of the big. I won't say their name because I know they were sensitive about it, but they called me one day. They're like, "Oh, you got to take that off the website, Jordan, the print." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, but you guys said I could." They're like, well, yeah, but now our head office says you got to take it off because one of the offices bought this big 4x5 foot commission of a garbage truck, and I shit you not, it's probably one of my favorite paintings. It's just vibrant, it's bright, it's just very neat, which you never would expect.
Yeah.
And I want it to be bright and big, and a lot of people are just like, oh, I need smaller paintings, and I was just like, well, there's a million other artists that do paint small, and it's just not what I do. I want my paintings to be the centerpiece in the room, and that might sound selfish, but whatever. Like you're not trying to sell art to make it so it blends in with everything else. And so I do these dog portraits, and they're $800, and they're 2x3 foot, and people are like, do you have smaller? I'm like, yeah, I could go like this size, and then they'll be like, well, how much? I'm like, well, it's $800. This size and smaller.
It's $800.
Because this is how long they all take me the same amount of time. Whether you're using a bigger brush or a smaller brush, it seems like they're all the same. So, and that's where people get surprised on how quick I paint these large ones. And there's lots of artists that do paint quick like this. And I think it's when I started and I was like, am I going to make a business of this? Can I afford to live off of this? One of the business strategy is obviously being efficient with your products, your finances, your materials, and how quickly you're going to paint a painting.
Yeah. Because
if they took 2 weeks or a week to paint, well, now I can't sell it for the lower price. You have to jack it up, and then you lose your buyers.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to buy it for that much money.
Is it a mixture between acrylic and oil, or are you using strictly oil?
It's acrylic.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's strictly acrylic, and then some spray paint.
Cool.
Which might be oil, but lots of spray painting. I used to do a lot of like stencils and stuff, but I don't seem to do that as much. The most popular thing about my paintings and the most talked about thing is those little hexagon designs you see in it.
Yep.
And that's my girlfriend. She makes jewelry. It's called Honey and Gold, and Honey and Gold. No. she makes this jewelry, Honey and Gold, and it's earrings, and she makes it out of like polymer clay and makes colors and designs, and then cuts them out. And one day she didn't like this octagon cutter that she had. She gave it to me. I put it in paint and on the canvas. And I went to this art thing, and all people were talking about was this thing. So I just started putting it in all my paintings. And once in a while, someone will say, "Hey, your like octagon doesn't match with the bear." Yeah. And I'm just like, well, okay. I don't care. That's not.
Thanks for your opinion.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter because that's what you get when you get my paintings. I did a live one once, and the guy after, he's like, "Can you take off the hexagons?" I'm like, "Nah, man.
How?
Like that's what I paint." Well, you could paint over things.
Yeah,
that is the best thing about paint is you can
but
paint over it.
Away. It's like you can't really take away from it.
And I said, okay, and the one guy said, I will, but like that is like it's in all my paintings. You'd hate to be that guy that outlives me, and this thing's worth a ton of money, and you don't have the hexagons on there,
Yeah, it's true. So. That's one thing too. Do you think you'll ever see yourself as like one of the top artists from the Okanagan?
No. There are so many talented people out there, and even though I do sell like a lot, I don't look at myself like I'm at the top of the game. I look at myself like I'm just painting. I had someone the other day say, "Oh, I'm a professional painter," and I'm like, the hell's a professional painter? You know what I mean? Like, you're a professional artist. And I'm like, well, I just tell people that I'm a painter.
Yeah.
And if they don't know who I am, I don't care how they take it. If they think I'm painting houses or art, it doesn't matter. I just say I'm a painter. So I don't know. Lots of people get requests to teach them, and I'm just like, well, I can show you what I do, but that would kind of go against my business, teaching everybody what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And they can see it. Like some of the paints can look at this and be like, oh, that's what he's doing. You know? But no, I don't know. I do want to be at the top of Google searches, of course, and then I do want to be recognized, and I think I'm fairly recognized even in public. Neck tattoos help, you know.
I guess, yeah, the punk rock skis, yeah.
So the neck tattoos help, and I'm not gonna lie, that was partially marketing, partially something I always wanted to do. So as I was always in the restaurant business, and then became, you know, an owner of a restaurant, so I was always shirt and tie type of person. And so people don't know this, that knew me, you know, 10, 15 years ago. I was like restaurant, giving great service, you know, and so this is different. And once I realized, like, oh, I'm not going back, you know, this is what I do now. I'm an artist. And I thought, well, maybe I should get the neck tattoos I always wanted, and that'll help me be part of my brand. It'll be more recognizable. And it works. I've been recognized in Vancouver last week by somebody, and I was like, what? Oh my God. So of course, every time it happens, I look at the family, I'm like, you know,
cool.
See what happened there, guys, you know? And yeah, but there's just, I don't know, there's so many talented artists, and that's the thing. I don't have the skill or the knowledge. You know, sometimes you talk to artists that went to school, and they're talking about cadmium yellow and yellow and yellow and yellow.
Yes.
And I'm just like, it's fucking yellow. Like, they got a yellow section up there. There's probably 20 yellows.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know what they are.
They work.
Not my goal.
Yeah.
My goal is not to know everything about it. My goal is to sell paintings. And my passion for art came after I realized it was going to make me money. And nobody wants to hear that. Nobody wants to hear that. Everybody wants to hear, like, oh, you must have a passion. I'm like, yeah, for money. You know? And so...
Well, at the end of the day, you have to survive. And if you're doing it, being an entrepreneur, this is where I don't think a lot of people understand, is like, if you're doing something for yourself, you have to be charging. You can't just like neglect your needs that you need to be able to survive, to do what you're doing, just to make other people happy.
Yep.
It's your life at the end of the day,
yep.
right? So,
and when you talk to people about it, it's like they want some story, like you were an artist since you were little, and your grandma passed down the color wheel, and blah blah blah. And I'm just like, no, like, people were buying them, and
that's where I find your story entertaining, because you have like a high skill set, but you just kind of like picked it up one day. And like, technically, like, I guess, like, because life expectancy for males is like 76 or something, and I was like, halfway through life, you're like, I just decided to become a painter. The rest of my life is led by being a painter.
It was all by chance, as I said. It was just going to Dollarama one day, and the fact that I just wanted to now start making art for my house, and it was all by chance. And then when I realized that there was finances behind it, and realized, like, oh, I could raise money for people. Like, my first charity thing was, it was years ago, it was at Boston Pizza, and I got all the servers to sell $2 raffle tickets to win this painting that was at the front. And I think we raised $7,800 for the local food bank.
That's so cool.
So and I like, you know, everyone likes being in the spotlight a little bit if they can be. And, you know, so when I go to these galas, like last week, Stephen Page for the Bare Naked Ladies guy was there. And I'm on stage making a speech in front of 500 people about the painting I just made in front of everybody, as Stephen Page is coming onto stage. And I'm like, how did I end up on the stage in Vancouver in a fire hall talking on a microphone to a crowd, you know? And I start off with, you know, you guys like my painting? You know, like, just like I'm a rock star too, just trying to get them all pumped up. And I'm just like, great, well, we're going to sell it, you know, to tell them I'm trying to raise $1 million and I'm still up 900,000 away, etc. And, you know, tell them it's for charity, you know. I told them, I said to the one group, I said, okay, now everyone just raise your arm. All right, you're ready. Every time you hear a higher number, raise your arm again, you know. So just have some fun. And I think that, like, I honestly think this live painting thing has now become the new dog portrait thing, where the dog portraits got me to where I was, and now the live painting with the charities and being in front of all these people and talking to everybody is now going to help get me to that next level, whatever that next level is. Yeah. We've already decided it's not galleries right now, and it's not raising prices. So what is that? You know, and that's where Florida came in, where I'm like, maybe I just needed a new scenery for me.
Have you ever thought about doing like murals, side of buildings?
No, I've thought about it. I don't know anything about it, and I've been asked to do it, but I don't even know how they get the image that big. Mm-hmm. You know, like I guess you make a big grid and whatnot.
Yeah, that's for my brain. It goes over my head. So.
Yeah, so I'm not ready to do that, and
because every artist does naturally progress, right?
Yeah, you change.
Like one of my buddies right now, his name's Cam, a really good graffiti artist from Kelowna.
Okay.
And he's, from what I've noticed, he's stopped working on painting where he's not allowed to, and now he's being hired to paint interiors for buildings and businesses.
Yeah.
And he's doing like these cool, giant, wild style pieces. That's a business name, and you're like, you're getting paid to do graffiti, bro.
Yeah.
Like, what better dream?
Yeah. Well, that's it. If you're getting paid to do
right?
something you like, right? Like that is literally the goal. Because, like I said earlier, it's like I'm going to pretend I'm retired.
Yeah.
Because I'm still doing this when I'm retired. You know, if I retire, can you retire?
I think
as long as you're doing something you love, is I don't even know.
No, you'll probably end up painting until you physically can't do it.
Yeah, I would imagine. I know I had a shoulder injury not too long ago, and then my elbow. I was like, So I'm like, do I just start practicing left-handed? Like, as we know, we talked about it already with the art world. It doesn't have to be the best painting sometimes.
Yeah.
You just have to have somebody that wants it. So maybe now it's a left-handed series, and things are just a little bit more fucked up or something. I don't know. Like,
That's so cool. I like that. Yeah. With the years of becoming a painter and going from the restaurant industry to painting, the industry of art that is in restaurants, does it transcend to the paintings that you make? Like, I know that you've mentioned that you have some businesses that have your artwork in it, but do you see a rising want for your style of artwork within restaurants?
Yeah, like every once in a while, somebody reaches out. Like somebody just reached out from this coffee shop in Kamloops, and you know what? Like, I want to go up there, but it's 2-hour drive. And then when someone buys it, it's not going to be from there. I've learned this already. As soon as I put a painting like in Merritt, 2 hours away, someone buys it in Kelowna. Now I got to go back to Merritt, and get this painting. So I try to just keep things efficient as I can, and I've got to this point where, because now I'm in 19 places, like if a bunch sold all at once and I had to take them out, I would feel terrible. So now I'm kind of putting a bit of a hold on that. I own about 100 paintings.
That's crazy.
Like of my paintings that haven't sold. And someone just told me, like, that's too many. I'm like, well, not really. If you got to have inventory. If you don't have them, you can't sell them. So that's where I'm hoping Florida comes in, is that you sell enough to pay for your time down there, and then you've got all these extra paintings, so you can start now reaching back out to this coffee shop saying, hey, can I put them in there? And everywhere I hang them, though, I don't do any commissions with anybody. There's no commissions. It's just kind of a handshake, and the deal is basically that if it sells, I'll send you a message, and I'll replace it with something cool. And when I was a bit slower, I used to replace them. Like, I had to deal with all of them. Like, I'll switch them every 6 months. So I'll swap out your art every 6 months. It gives your guests and your customers new art to look at. But then I've kind of fallen off the track with that in the last couple of years, because I honestly, I think the live painting has now taken all this extra time. Yeah. Because each live paint event is a minimum of 3 hours, because you got to 3 days. You got to drive there one day, you got to paint one day, and then drive home the next day. So it's you're only painting for 3 hours, but there's a lot
that goes around.
There's days wrapped around it. Yeah.
It's kind of like traveling with work, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think that.
It's my favorite part about being an artist right now is the live painting.
You're a touring artist, like you're kind of like a musician.
Yeah.
And
I call them gigs.
For me, it's a total different aspect for sitting down with you, speaking with you versus like speaking with my buddy Brent, or when I spoke with Glenn Clark. Like, they're artists who stay home, they do their paintings, and then the painting goes to a gallery or the painting gets sold.
Yeah.
And to be the one who's going around is like, it's a total different way of approaching it, but it's and I think that's what separates you from most other artists.
Well, we were talking, my girlfriend and I, the other day, I feel like I'm in Groundhog Day. I wake up every day and I work out and I come downstairs and I paint, and I'm like, I'm not built for that. Like, I'm a restaurant person. I am literally designed to be at the front door of a restaurant talking to people. And when I go to these live paintings, that's what it is. You're part of the entertainment and the show, and it's neat. There's no rules on it. I kind of created it as I went, from the lighting to the 2 setups where you bring one canvas to the other, and just all of it. Like, there was nowhere to get the info from. And sometimes people say, like, oh, this is going to catch on, other artists are going to do it. And I'm just like, well, that's great. I'm going to go to the places that want me,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and if they can find other places to help raise money for, then that's fantastic. It is surprising how many people don't get back to me when I reach out to a gala. Absolutely shocking, actually, especially considering it works so well and it's free.
Mm-hmm.
And it really blows my mind, to be honest. So
I find that, because I used to put on music festivals for the last few years. I put on a handful of music festivals without a team and just trying to do it by myself.
Yeah.
And you do seem to see a lot of pushback or no responses from specific things, and I think it's because it catches them off guard. They have no idea what to say.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know what to say to you.
That's what someone joked. One of the organizers said, "You should just charge $3,000, Jordan," and then they'll start replying.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, "Isn't that funny?"
Because they think there's something that's hidden
yeah,
there.
something's not matching up. It's like, is this a scammer?
Yeah.
And that's what people said. Like, I had to talk to you on the phone to see if you were real. And I'm like, yeah, I know it sounds crazy, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I said, but because we're going to split it, you just take none of the risk. And the charity's going to win, the guests are going to win, and I'm going to win. So I can come back again and keep doing it. Because if you didn't make any money doing it, you can't do it because I can't take
No, you can't
3
afford
days
that.
off and pay hundreds
Yeah.
of dollars in hotels. And
Not to mention the price of the canvases alone are not cheap, right?
just
Like,
everything together. So
yeah, and that's one thing I don't think people realize. Like the size canvases that you're working on, they're big canvases, and
They're big canvases.
are expensive.
well, the one that shipped out this morning was $340 just to ship it. And I don't pay for that because I just,
That's on top of it. But
Yeah,
even that,
most of
shipping
them are
out
shipped.
paintings,
Yep.
that's a risky
Oh,
thing,
it's risky.
right? Like if it gets wrecked on the travel, like
Oh, that'd be terrible. One just had a hole in it down in the States for the first time ever. And I never saw a picture of it, so I don't know if it actually had a hole. But it was a framing shop that bought it, a gallery. Actually, an art gallery and framing shop is who bought it. So she was able to fix it up. So
yeah,
that was nice of her not to send it back.
yeah, that's lucky. That
Yeah.
she's the one who ended up with
Yeah,
it. So.
yeah, really lucky.
If you could give an aspiring painter who wanted to start a career doing what you were doing,
Yeah.
what advice do you think you would give them?
Well, I think I would tell them to paint what you want to paint, but also paint what you think people are going to buy. If you want to do this for a business, you can't just paint Smurfs. If you love Smurfs and that's all you want to paint, well, go ahead, but there's only so many people are going to buy a Smurf painting. So I think painting what you want, the other people want. And in my case, I started off wanting to paint faces and portraits, and I realized that people were more likely going to buy a bear or an owl or a fox painting over a Tom Petty or a Salvador Dali. There's more bear buyers than there is Salvador Dali painting buyers, And I think another thing is to not compare yourself with other people. So, you see these full-time rich artists on Instagram or whatever, and 9 times out of 10, they became rich and became an artist. You know what I mean? They didn't become an artist to become rich. They already had the money set up so that they would succeed. So you really have to remember that. It's not always what it seems, and we're all on different paths. So if you're doing and to keep at it, like I read something the other day that says like most millionaires aren't millionaires till they're 45 or 55 or something. It was just like, wow, because when you're watching social media and that's where you're going to see a lot of your art and sell it, everybody looks like a millionaire, and you could really be whatever you want, like anyone could pose as a painter, especially with AI now, right? You could come up with a new painting every day and make a studio, and it's pretty wild. And just so that's the advice. Treat it like a business. Paint what you want that you think is going to sell, and if you want to sell it. And like I was saying at the beginning, like I wasn't selling any of my paintings at the beginning, and I had like 24 of these 4-foot paintings in this guest room just lined up. My brother comes out, and he's in a band called Bleecker, and they're nominated for a Juno, so they've been doing it for a long time, been very successful. And he's like, well, what are you gonna do with them all? And I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, he's like, you have to sell them, and I'm like, I can't sell these. Like, what if I can never have them again? And then I sold this one. It was $800. And my mom loved it, and I sold it, but I couldn't just give it to her either because I just couldn't. Anyways, I sell it to this guy. It was a Nelson Mandela painting, and his dad knew Nelson Mandela or something, and I sold it. And he left with it, and I almost called him back and just said, like, bring it back. I can't sell this to you. Like, and then I started to try to like lose my real attachment to the paintings. And I guess that could have been a struggle. losing the connection to them and trying to purposely prefer to have the sale over the painting. And maybe that's why I came up with the art family and people are my art family. Maybe that's why, instead of me looking at like I'm doing it for the money, I'm doing it to get that person into the cool kids club, you know, like get them into my art family. And that was probably actually the biggest struggle. So it's happened 2 times where I wanted to call someone and just say, look, I got to buy that off you, you know. And at the beginning, every time I sold a painting, I'd say to the people, well, if you're ever going to sell this or get rid of it, call me first. I'd love to have first option to buy it back. And then the first time someone did call and said, hey, you said when we bought this, if we were ever doing, you know, blah, 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 we're moving. Do you want to buy this back? And I look at it and I'm like, fuck no, that was 2 years ago. I'm done with this now. You know, I'm on to other paintings now.
Yeah, I've got more loves.
Because like, what's your favorite painting? It's like, well, it's the one I painted yesterday. And then my next favorite painting tomorrow is going to be the one that happened today, because you just kind of keep...
It always progresses, right?
Yeah, and it's not exactly like that, but quite often you'll come up with a series and you're like, oh, I love those. You know, like those elephants with the bouquet flowers. It's like, I loved them when they came out. And I painted a bunch of versions and they all sold. And then eventually you paint one and it's like, it didn't sell. And it's like, oh, I guess that's over. Yeah. It happened with the bumblebees. It happened with the emus. It was just like, oh, okay, well, they were so hot. And then just, oh, all right, well, nobody likes these anymore.
Love it. It's been amazing to sit down and pick your brain and your story and hear your story, because it is, like I said at the beginning, everyone has got a different story and a different path. And for me to like piece all these pieces from all these different artists from around our region to be like, this is how each individual person has made their career, and then be like, here, the younger generation, go progress and do it, right? Like that's the whole goal. So I think your story is probably one of my favorites because you stepped into it after.
Right.
And you had a mental like understanding of business and turned it into a business, and now it has become your livelihood, which is exactly where every artist wants to make it to. And
that's the goal, right? And that's when I realized, like, it's not finances; it's just being able to do it all the time,
understanding what you're doing. And
you know, well, I can't wait till your shows come out so I can watch these other interviews and maybe learn a few things from.
There's so many unique people. Brent is probably one of my favorites. If you watch an episode, watch Brent's.
Brent?
Brent Steele. He's one of my really good buddies, and he does what he's dubbed as chaos art.
Okay.
And he does it with oil paints, but it's all just abstract, unique things. And all of a sudden, you look at it and you're like, hey, that looks like a fire that happened on Okanagan. It's like he's got a really unique style that I've fallen in love with, and it's more just watching him do his work.
Yeah.
His process is what I love.
Yeah.
It's not even the outcome. It's watching him and the pleasure he has while he's painting. You're like, you love this, bro. Like, you love this like I love making music.
Yeah.
So like I understand it, and I feel that connection to him and his love with his art.
Right.
Because it's the same way as me if I pick up a guitar or drumsticks, you know.
Yeah. That's the real talent, because you guys can't even paint over it. You make a mistake, it's out there. You know, the paint, at least you're like, dude, let's cover that up. Like these live paints, you're like, are you just going to cover it up after? I'm like, maybe not.
Yeah.
Who knows how this is going to go? You know?
Well, Jordan, I want to thank you for your time.
Oh, Rob.
Having us here. It's been
Thanks for coming
incredible.
by, buddy.
This is, like, we'll take some B-roll.
Yeah,
we definitely have to show the Salvador Dali. It's...
I call this Spilt Paint Studios is what my name for it is.
I love it.
Except when we're upstairs with the family, we usually just call it the art room. The art room, the most childish thing we could think of.
Love it.
And then I talked to my buddy, and he's like, the art room is a great new name.
It is, though.
And it's like,
it is
if it all had capital letters, it sounds great. If it doesn't, it sounds like the playroom.
It's true.
You know?
Well, I want to thank you again for your time and your story. And if you'd like to be a guest on the show, there will be a QR code at the bottom